Hey guys, it's me, Sophia Boss. I'm going to give y'all a brief explanation of the five kingdoms. Each of the five kingdoms can be thought of as unique because they have their own characteristics. The five kingdoms are eubacteria, archaebacteria, protista, fungi, and plants. Archaebacteria has three parts, which is methanogens, thermoacidophiles, and halophiles. Archaebacteria is both autotrophs and heterotrophs. They have basic characteristics such as they are prokaryotes, single-celled, have no peptidoglycan in their walls, and are the oldest forms of life. Archaebacteria reproduce asexually and help plants in an environment in which, for example, methanogens help get energy from cellulose, which is important. But they can potentially harm us because they can weaken our immune systems and cause disease because of their ability to survive in the human body. Some example is the Methanobrevibacter smithii, the dominant archaeon in the human intestinal tract. This consumes end products of bacterial fermentation. Another example would be the Halobacterium salinarium. This is a salt-loving animal and can be found anywhere with a lot of salt. It can survive with a lot of salt. The last of the examples is the Thermochus littoralis. This grows near and around deep sea smoker vents, something most organisms cannot do. The next of the kingdoms is the eubacteria. The basic characteristics of eubacteria is that they are single-celled organisms that have prokaryotic cells that contain cell walls with peptidoglycan. Eubacteria are very common and diverse and are found almost everywhere. Eubacteria are helpful to us because they can help digest and can be used as a medicine. Eubacteria, along with helpfulness, can be harmful to us because they can cause diseases. Eubacteria, as another characteristic, both reproduce sexually and asexually. Some examples of the eubacteria would be the Clostridium tetani, which is the spore-forming bacillus that causes the disease tetanus. Also, there is the Clostridium botulinum, which produces botulinum toxin in food/wounds and can be causing botulism. And lastly is Clostridium perfingers, which can be found as a normal component of decaying vegetation, marine sediment, the intestinal tract of humans and other vertebrates, insects, and soil. Along with those two kingdoms comes the Protista kingdom. Some characteristics of the Protista kingdom is that they are eukaryotes and they can't be classified into animals, plants, or fungi. Protistas are both autotrophs and heterotrophs, which is how they get their food. They can both be uni and multicellular. Protistas help us because they manufacture food, absorbing carbons from the atmosphere and releasing oxygen, but they can be harmful to us because they can cause horrible diseases. An example of a protista is a euglena. A euglena is an excellent bioindicator of environmental changes because of their presence and absence, and also the measuring of cellular changes that occur under differing environmental conditions. Another example is an amoeba. An amoeba graze on bacteria and keep the bacteria population in active growth phases. The last example is a paramecium. Paramecium plays a role in the carbon cycle because the bacteria they eat are often found on decaying plants. The second to last kingdom that we are going to discuss is fungi. Some basic characteristics of fungi is that they get their food as heterotrophs. Also, they are eukaryotic cells and have cell walls made of chitin. Fungi can be classified as both multiple cellular and unicellular. Fungi help us because they can break down dead components, but they can also be harmful because they can cause bad diseases. An example of a fungi is Bastidiomycetes. They attract a lot of attention because they have large bastidiocarps, but they are important in the ecosystem because they have microscopic forms as well. Another example of a fungi is Chytridium. This is made up of microscopic fungi that usually has little or no mycelium and reproduce chiefly by zoospores. The last example of a fungi is the Pilobolus. This is a genus of fungi that commonly grows on a herbivore. The last but not least kingdom is Plantae. Some basic characteristics of the Plantae kingdom is that they receive food as autotrophs, though some are not autotrophs anymore. They contain eukaryotic cells and are multicellular when algae get kicked out, and have cell walls made of cellulose. Plantae are non-modal, which means that they cannot move from place to place. The Plantae is helpful because they give us oxygen and provide us food. Though these are their beneficial traits, they are also harmful because they release poisonous gases into the air. Some examples is this sugar maple tree. It begins flowering when it's around 10 to 15 years old and provides us oxygen in the air. Another example is this wild rose bush. A wild rose bush could grow easily in your backyard and helps with the process of cellular respiration. The last example of a plantae is this bamboo. It has the normal functions as any other plant.